I think it is saying that we are, but I'm not. So that show up on Geekverse yet. Yeah, it is. We're live.
We are live. All right, cool. There we go. We got it going.
Let's go,
Well,
baby. Let's go, babyface.
here we are. Chapter 24 of the DC Alliance podcast. My name is Greg, the Bat Daddy 52, and with me, as always, my homeboy, Travis Hines. How you doing, buddy?
I'm a little sad, Greg. I got used to the power of being in full control of DC Alliance, and it was weird not doing the. Well, here we are. Did you hear my imitation of you? I
I
tried.
did, and I heard the practice runs beforehand too when you sent me
Yeah.
in the recording.
And then I paused as I was trying to think about the chapter because that's kind of stuff that I don't really have much to do with in terms of this podcast. So,
I figured 23 you would have remembered, greatly. It's got to be your favorite number, right?
well,
LeBron James,
it
right?
was, then someone stole it, so it kind of made a list meeting, right? You know, they call it like in classier leagues like the NHL, they when their greatest player retires, they retire the jersey league wide, not just from the one team or the two teams or a team that he never even played on. Whatever. We're not a sports talk. We're in DC, and I'm excited to
Right.
talk. We don't have much news, Greg, but we do have some, and this will be a little bit shorter episode. Listeners, these are the episodes that uh, we make up for with the fandom and the 2 hour podcast and the really good content. So this is going to be a little bit shorter one, but we're going to have some fun discussions. And there was some news that came out in last week, like 5 or 6 items. So I'm looking forward to talking with you about them, Greg.
Yeah, got a little bit to talk about. It feels like forever since we've podcasted together, man. It's crazy because we didn't do Friday. I wasn't here last Tuesday,
Yeah, you weren't here last week. We've
and
been
we've pre-recorded
superhero
the
discussions.
super discussions for the last few weeks.
That's ending. That's going to have to be
Yeah, we got to catch up on that. But
Thursday night. Well, I'm good to go. Well, probably Thursday night because I have a test on Thursday, so we'll probably do Thursday night.
okay,
For that, if that's possible. Probably put that in the calendar. I just want to, before we even do anything, the Geekverse guys, Snell and the rest of the crew, did a 24-hour live charity stream. That was fantastic. I watched it so much. They raised, was it over $2,000? I'm pretty sure, Greg.
It's like 2026 or 25, something like that. Just over 2000. Yeah.
Very impressive. Broke their goals. Clearly, Snell was not prepared for them to break the 1,500 goal because he didn't even have the clippers charged.
Right.
Like my mother is a hairdresser. Like I grew up, listeners, like I had highlights at age 11. Like I've been getting like free cuts for like 18 years, and that just hurt my soul to see his sit up. Like he needed to watch Clay sit up and learn from him because he never had anything. Poor old Taylor has like carpet on his floor, and Snell's there just in t-shirt going on, and I'm like, dude, put on a garbage bag for a cape. At least get some of the hair, catch some of the hair. Like no, like beats up Taylor one day, and then now he's like putting all his hair on the floor. It's just, but he makes up for it by raising money for children. See, it's a perfect cover. Like I wish I thought of that. Like it's diabolical in a sense, Greg.
Yeah.
Like he can be this evil person, but he's so charitable with his time and his efforts that you can't question it. So bravo, Mr. Snell, and bravo to the crew. It was fun, and I'm going to let you talk about our trivia contest because that was an event, and I'm going to come in after listeners to tell you something that I should have done and didn't do. So,
Okay.
Greg, take it away with the trivia.
Well, before you talk trivia, man, you're right. It was a great event, and I think that you're right. He wasn't prepared. Mr. Snow was not prepared for the head shaving, even though I pretty much guaranteed that. I wasn't expecting what happened afterwards with Clay, the 1700 with Clay having to shave his head and his beard. And then, especially when I woke up the next morning and saw that apparently they'd broken 2000, which I said if they broke 2000, I would shave the beard. So there you go. First time in years.
Now, listeners, I want to say,
shiny.
like he already off camera said it'll grow back in a week because
Yeah,
I've
it
been
will.
making fun of him,
It will.
calling baby thing. So the sacrifice, like let's equate this, like it's Snell and Clay, and then a little bit down level.
Well, I can't look if you're
I
looking
know,
live.
Greg,
Like I
you would-
can't shave
you
my
would-
head. It's
I'm not
pointless.
saying if you could, you would have. But you understand, like beard and hair, there's levels, right? Like,
Right.
in terms of what you're giving up, like I would go in and shave this, but it's not really a beard. So, like Joe's beard, I would equate Joe's beard to shaving your head because that beard is like Like
That's true. Yeah, like
like
mine used to be. Yeah.
like
Well,
yeah,
here's
yours used to be when I first knew you.
oh,
Your beard
it
was
was down to my
like
chest. Yeah.
it was outrageous. It was awesome.
Well,
So
here's the thing: is I'm also already considering raising the stakes for next year. Of course, it'd have to be raise the price, but I'm sure everybody's seen 40-year-old virgin. I'd be willing to reenact that scene,
no, no,
but
no.
it just depends on on how things work out.
I have before
Hmm.
let a female friend do that.
Yeah.
And listeners, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm pretty much the person that looked at the full moon and started to transform into a werewolf, and someone tackled me halfway through
Right.
transformation, and I was just left with like I'm very okay. Yeah, that's
I've done it once before and swore I'd never do it again,
it
but
is the worst.
it is the worst. Oh my gosh, it is
And
the worst.
I will not jump on with you. I don't care. I'll run to BC and help them
It's
before
for
I
the
do
children,
that.
man.
Yeah,
It's for the
I said
kids.
I'll run to BC and help them before I
I hear
do
you.
that. So yeah, like I'll
I'd
shave
be
my
willing to
head.
consider that.
I'll
So,
shave my head. I don't mind shaving my head, even though I
well,
love my hair.
yeah, all right.
But
Well, about the trivia. The trivia was fun. We got smashed in the DC. Actually, okay, we didn't get smashed in the DC. By the end of the DC section, the score was 1-0 after 20 questions. So it's not like we got smashed. I think their one was from a
I think
steal.
no, I think it was 3-1 for them. I think
I've
we
got it.
got one. No, I think we got one in the one steal for DC, didn't we?
Maybe it was 3-1. You're right, because it
Yeah,
was coming close to the end of it, and we were
yeah.
well.
They got a
Either way, we
couple.
didn't get smashed in DC.
See, I want to complain about it, but I can't because it hurt Snell and them equally because they cycled through their people quicker.
Right.
So you Snell got to answer more,
Mm,
but Taylor and Kirkland were their knowledge of DC especially was not nearly like
right.
as good as the rest of us in our group. So it is very shameful. I felt terrible about my DC performance, but my Marvel and Star Wars performance I'm okay with. I stole a question and uh, got one of Brent's. I'm really pissed off I didn't get on your list like immediately. Then
Oh,
that night I
oh, dude.
watched
Yeah.
it was a tell to me that I haven't watched Winter Soldier in like a long enough time. So I went and watched it that night, and I was so angry when I watched it. I
Yeah.
was like, "Are you kidding me? All this time playing, I didn't hear anything."
For me, that one was a total guess, but it was an educated guess. I was thinking about it and I was like, how does that movie open up? I've seen this movie a
I
bunch of
should have
times.
known
How does
with
that movie
Brent.
open
I
up?
should have known with
And like,
Brent
and I thought about it and I was like,
because
okay, I
that
think it's
goddamn
on your left.
that person that Brent has said on your left to me probably more times than he said hello
It's like he wrote
in
that question
messages.
for you.
Yeah, like it just
You
worked
know?
out.
Yeah.
So, but he thought I would get it. So, but I want a special thanks to Scott and Brent for coming up. And is
Yeah.
it Tyler? Yeah, Tyler.
Yeah.
The three of them. Tyler really pulled off the look
Oh
of the
yeah.
thing, but
Hmm.
his questions were kindergarten level compared to like Ray and Scott, look, Brent and Scott
But
because
I missed one of them.
yeah, but
Like,
he
oh,
had multiple
so
choice and
yeah.
it was only a 50-50 because his third like
Yeah.
choice was always a joke choice.
I
So
think
you
he
had a
would
50-50
restructure
shot
that if he probably knew
if he
the
heard,
direction
yeah,
of the
if he
game. Yeah.
heard, but like the last question didn't have multiple choice and we got it right. So listeners, I just want to say, uh, from the beginning, since Greg first called me Snell, I approached Travis Snell about defecting and like leaving the feed when we started and coming back and joining the Geekverse guys and being on their team and not telling Greg and them and pulling the wool over our eyes. It'll be like Snell being Vince McMahon and like getting me like and nobody knowing. But unbeknownst to Snell, I had my own plan of if anybody watched wrestling, WWF went against WCW, and everyone thinks that WWF won on the clean, but Vince McMahon really put somebody in as a double agent and he
Hmm.
screwed them over and they won that way. Well, obviously it's all made up, but I wanted to get Snell back that exact same way to use wrestling. So I had him believing it. He was thinking I was going to go on his team, but I was going to sabotage his team
Right.
and give wrong answers and be absolutely terrible.
Mhm.
But I don't know if it's the Canadian in me or just the I guess I'm a good guy, but I didn't want to do that for the first charity stream we're going to be on and the first trivia contest.
Well,
I
now
felt like it
you've
would have
given
been
it away. You can't do it ever again, you
well, I
know?
felt it would have been really greasy to get
Yeah.
Snell, and then he'd be like, "Man, like I was talking to him for like a month and a half about this," and he
Yeah,
was
that
completely
would be
like
pretty bad.
he was like double agenting me the entire time when I thought he was like really getting Greg.
Yeah.
So I could have had him, listeners, and I ultimately, from the results, I should have switched teams and just been out was on their team.
Yeah.
But uh, I chose to go. I think I made the right choice. We just missed some questions that we could have got, but all in all, it was so much fun. I had such a blast, and
Mhm.
thanks to everybody involved, it was so great. And I'm really glad that they beat their goal.
Yes, very, very much so. I have two questions that I wanted to ask you. Whenever you were hearing my questions, because I hated hearing other people's questions that I knew the answer to. Then it would get to me, I had no idea what was going on. I was like, oh, what to answer. The one I know I missed one, of course, the Darth Vader one, not the yeah, the Vader quote one, which
No,
I just immediately thought
yeah,
in my
Luke, I'm
mind,
your
who's he
father.
saying this to, not what's he saying. And I fumbled that one. But the other one was the movie that was meant to be video straight to video that had gone to the theaters. And I thought about this when I was like, it's got to be animated. It's got to be animated. Did you think I was going to get that one? I didn't.
No,
I
no,
guessed
because
Under
you
the
never
Red
watched
Hood.
it. You never watched it. That's
I
why I
know,
knew.
but
I
I
knew.
had a little knowledge, and I thought about that, and I think you've actually
I've
told me
told
that
you. Yeah,
specific fact
I've
before.
told you about that
Yeah,
movie being in. I told you that they
no,
originally had it, but the success of the show, and they were like, "Well, let's go, let's try this with, like, let's put it under anime." Siskel and Ebert reviewed it a couple years after it was in theaters. I
yeah,
think a couple years, and they like sung its praises higher than Batman Returns.
yeah,
Yeah, they were like, "I wish we would have reviewed this. This is amazing." So
yeah.
this
My
was like
only
it didn't do
saving
very
grace,
well.
yeah, my only saving grace with that one was I was at least in the right ballpark. I was animated movies.
Yeah,
I
you knew
thought the
that.
right way about it, you know.
Well, see, the thing I'm really pissed because I should have known this with Scott. Scott is a teacher. Scott is an English stickler, a grammar stickler. I should have like I never paid attention to. I got rattled. I hate to admit it as
Yeah.
somebody who plays sports and like when time runs down, like I don't choke like that. So that
Mhm.
really. It was sad, but it was props to Scott for his wording. I didn't pay attention to it as much, but like direct to video first there. That was your clue. If you're
Mhm.
like, but your fault that you didn't get a chance to watch it. Like
Yeah.
if we would have watched that one before Under the Red Hood, you would have knew immediately. Bingo bango. That's why you guess Under Red Hood too. Which I kind of smiled at that too as well. I was like,
Yeah. And I thought I was right too. I was like, oh, I was like, I'm gonna get this. I'm just gonna take a shot in the dark. I'm gonna get this. But no, it was really, really fun. They ended up winning by 2 points. It came down to the last question, which is pretty fun. Always, fun to see that because we kind of had a big comeback. We were down by a lot going into the Star Wars.
I can't believe how they fumbled Star Wars like
Yeah.
with the multiple choice. They got a couple right.
Hmm.
Uh, So, especially like randomly, last question being worth three, that was like very Family Feud, final like third round level, where the third round is more valuable than the first two rounds combined. So
Yeah, that was kind of, but I mean, hey,
it worked
it
out for
worked in our
us.
favor.
Now, I
So
just
we
gotta
got
say
it.
one thing. I'm really glad that I didn't buzz in and answer a DC question completely wrong while I hosted a DC show. That's I, I don't know who that could be. I'm just sympathizing for somebody that may have had a wrong answer, who we all expected to get the right answer, and we all still love her. Uh, she's a great host and has a lot of knowledge on a certain subject. But I'm not gonna lie, Greg, I was a little blown away that we didn't. I was doing fist pumps and kind of dancing because
I
I
was
was like,
too.
even
I
I
was
knew
too.
the answer, and I was like,
She knew the answer too.
yeah,
She
she
knew the
just got
answer.
too
Yeah, yeah.
excited, and
She
I was
did what
just
I
like,
did. She just didn't think right before she said it. Nothing wrong. I mean, it happens. I did it like a round or two
no.
before that. So like it happens.
No,
Um,
no, we all have to. There's none of this. Nothing wrong with it. That's the. Why don't you give everybody
well,
participation? Why don't you give everybody participation medal, and we all sing "Kumbaya" and say nothing. We
in
all need to
America,
do
that's what we
better.
do now.
I didn't get either DC question right. I am pathetic. I need to really work on my DC trivia knowledge.
Yeah.
And same thing, like we all need to do better. We were terrible at DC, especially,
Right. Yeah.
and at Marvel we weren't exactly the best. Now
And I think the
two
only
out of
question we
three
got right was Sarah with the
stole.
Lucifer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a kind of a shot in the dark. I think
Hmm.
Sarah would admit that, but she was like, kind of
Yeah,
deal. So yeah, it was really fun.
it
Props
was
to
fun.
everybody for the questions. A little less props to Brant because like kiss my arse, but on your left stuff. You somehow you would get me with that, of course. But no Blade Trinity questions, so you clearly aren't as evil as I thought you were, Brant.
There you
So
go.
yeah, thanks for taking time out of your day to do that. It was great fun, and I guess we should probably talk about the network after all. We just went on for like 12 minutes about trivia, so
Yeah, I
we
was
may
just
we
thinking
may
that. I was
have
like,
to
we haven't even
we
plugged the
may have to
network yet.
cut this out for the pod. We'll probably cut this part out for the audio
No.
podcast. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
maybe. Well, I'll try and work on Greg for that because it's like 12 minutes of rambling.
Fun
Let's go.
times talking about good stuff. Anyway, yeah, we're part of Geek Ultimate Alliance Network, which is joined with the Geekverse Podcast Network that we were just talking about. Shows Monday through Sunday. We're getting to the point where we're having a lot of shows, so I got to figure out a way to shorten this thing up because I think more might
Just
be
don't
coming.
talk about the host. Just talk about the shows. They'll find out the host from the shows.
There you go. Okay, so Mondays you got Chris Balga with World's Finest True Believers. Tuesdays is DC Alliance Podcast with me and Mr. Hines here. Wednesdays is Marvel Alliance Podcast with Chris and
Yeah.
Mr. Snell. Thursday's Katie's Day. She does Star Wars Alliance Podcast or Slice of Film. Star Wars Alliance Podcast, she has Nathan with her. And then Fridays, you can check us out on Super Civil Servants Podcast on Friday evenings live with everybody I just spoke about. Audio drops for that on Saturday. Friday mornings, you check out superhero discussions with me and Mr. Bone here. Saturdays and Sundays, you get DC and Marvel comic book rundown. Weird Science, DC and Marvel Comics, what that is. I'm trying to think now. Sunday mornings, we get Star Wars Alliance Mandalorian reviews, which I wasn't able to join this week, but I want to be able to join.
Didn't that come out? Didn't they do that this evening today, or was that Star Wars Alliance today?
That was, I'm not sure.
I was
not
working,
sure.
but I think
okay. I know the first one was Sunday. I'm not sure where we're going with that. But I'd like to be a part of those if they're Sunday mornings, which is a fun thing to do. Rangers podcast, Rangers Alliance. Excuse me, Ranger Alliance, because there was a big thing about that. Ranger Alliance podcast. That's going to alternate on Mondays with Chris with World's Finest True Believers.
January
correct?
1st.
January 1st. Okay, so for now, it's going to be on Sundays.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie here.
What I'm saying, man.
Wait, no. Snell gave you thanks at least 6 times during the charity stream about like getting the podcast, like being essential in helping create the podcast. I would think that you would know when Clay. You take offense to this, Clay, because I'm not telling him. So he's going to live in mystery of not knowing when Ranger Alliance comes out. Also, he said Ranger.
I'll just talk to Clay.
He also
like, hey,
said
man,
he also
when's
said
this come out?
Rangers. He also
said
said Rangers.
You're right. I did fumble that one. So, but that's all the shows we're looking at right now, correct?
Yeah.
Good deal. Okay.
Good job.
And then Patreon, we have 2 different tiers. The $1 tier helps keep the lanterns charged for the rings and everything. So there you go. And I think I stole that one from Nathan actually. And then we have a $5 tier, which you get exclusive Patreon shows. We do amalgam chats. We do some different movie reviews. A lot of just different stuff goes on there. You can also get ad-free and early episodes. I know that me and Travis try to get superhero discussions recorded early, so that way we can, put those out there. And if you're a patron subscriber, you get to listen to those early and ad-free. I believe Chris also does that with World's Finest True Believers, but I think he's almost out of ammo with backup episodes. So it's going to be.
I think that the January 1st date is
gotcha.
with that. And listeners, you can't see, if you're not watching this, you can't see this right now, but I'm holding the Batman Death in the Family. Living on an island, Smile Island, like I do. This only came out Saturday. We only were able to purchase this on Saturday. So I finally picked it up today, and I'm going to end up watching it probably sometime this week, and we'll get a review in and out on that. And I want to say that because it'll come to Patreon first for early access, and probably within a week it'll drop on superhero discussions. But just want to say that Greg's going to pick it up soon, but I told him basically wait until I get access to it, because I'm sure it'll be a lot easier for you to get it where you're to, whereas me, sometimes it's harder to get physical copies of things right away. It usually takes a little while to get to this little rock in the water.
But yeah, man, I'm trying to pick mine up this weekend sometime. I paid on Friday, put that in the finances for next week. definitely pick up a copy of it, hard
I'm
copy, because
excited.
you can't get the extra features like the different.
Well, you can't get the digital shorts, the animated shorts,
Mhm.
and you can't get the choice, which is basically
Yeah,
the
which is the
whole
big deal.
thing.
That's what we're
Yeah.
trying to check out. Yeah, because I honestly was just gonna buy it digitally,
Yeah, well, you get
but
what you would get then is just if like you get one scenario straight through, then another scenario, then another scenario. Like you would just get them playing like over and over, like one after another, instead
but
of
isn't
you
that essentially
choosing.
what you're getting by
Well,
choosing too?
it is, but no, you won't get them in the same order. Like regardless,
I got you.
in the back here, it says like there's three choices: Robin cheats death, Robin dies, Batman saves Robin. Now I'm sure in the digital way, it just goes like 1, 2, 3, but you
Yeah.
could go 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 2, 1, 3, like the way you pick, right? You don't know the order that your stories are coming.
Are those the only three choices? I thought
I
they said they
think
were gonna.
no. I think there's
Okay,
more down the
there's gonna be
line. I'm
more. That's what I
pretty
thought.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
thought we
pretty sure.
talked about
Like
that
there's a
before.
couple more down the line.
Okay.
Yeah. Not. I don't think there's as many as I would have liked to see. But in this first time, I'm still interested in how many they're going to do. But yeah,
All
really
right.
excited about that, listeners. So look for that, especially if you're patrons. Look for
Mhm.
that to drop early.
And thank
And
you very
as
much
yeah,
for all
and
of our
as
patrons.
always, thanks patrons for supporting us in general. This is it's fun to do anyway, but you need like the Zoom to keep up and several other things. So it helps out a lot.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, all right, man. Well, you know what? We had a pretty long intro there with a plug and I talk about the charity stream. Do you want to just go ahead and take our first break right now and then get into the news? Get it
Sure
out of the
thing.
way. I
Sure
mean,
thing.
so all right, cool. Well, folks, we're going to go ahead and take a real quick break. Like we always say, we don't pick these ads; we just pick the placement of them. Volume can get a little bit loud, but it's not going to be very long. So we'll be right back. Podcast magic, we're back. So there you go. Well, let's talk some news, man. It's been election week in America. There hasn't been. I'm not saying that America is everything in the
Yes.
world,
Yes, it
but
is, Greg.
there
Yes,
hasn't
it
been
is.
a lot of news come out in the last week or so. So we're kind of, skimming the bottom of the barrel here. There's some interesting stuff that's come out, but as always, I'm gonna toss the mic to Travis. Get us going.
Yeah, Greg has been out of the news loop for a week and a half now. Of like you
Yeah,
missed a show, so
had a rough last week, man.
it definitely feels foreign to you
Yeah,
that about the whole thing. Uh, Before I talk about the news, I just want to say congrats on the democratic process working out in America. Uh, no, you'll have some conspiracy theories and YouTube videos of people saying dead people are voting, like the Simpsons videos, like kind of like that. So, uh, but just the rest of the world, I can speak for a Canadian anyway, so it doesn't have any bearing on my American listeners. But we're really excited to not be insulted for no reason anymore. We're supposed to be your best friends.
that makes sense.
Yeah, like we're team, like we're Batman and Superman and Batman, and you guys could even be Superman. Although I
You
think we're
almost
more.
called yourselves Robin.
No,
Just
I know.
noticing
Well, okay,
that.
you don't like America. Don't
I'm
think of
assuming that
Canada
America
as
would be
Robins.
Batman.
I've
How about
heard Americans call Canada America Junior.
that? Yeah, possibly.
But yeah, happy that it worked out, and I just hope that get a lot less news about what the president is tweeting every day, and we'll go back to just normal things, like a little bit more, and a lot more people from the 24-hour news networks will lose their jobs because we don't need 24-hour news reporting because it just riles people up. But yeah, that's Travis's political talk,
There
and
you go.
that's over with. So, and that wasn't very politically charged. Uh,
That's your grind your gear moment, gears
yeah,
moment right there, right?
just be happy. Just it's so easy to be happy and smiley. Like just be a nice person.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jim. Oh, that's horribly pronounced there. Galifianakis. Yeah,
Gaffigan.
Gaffigan.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that's not even. Well, I don't know what that tweet is. Okay, Jim Gaffigan
Yeah.
has been cast as Thunderbolt in Stargirl season 2. So that's pretty cool news, Greg. If you do recall the pin that Courtney stole,
I do.
the one that uh, his own self was very, very scared of and didn't want
Hmm.
Courtney playing with it up, like, Pat. Uh, so I'm really excited about this. It's going to be a CG character, which makes sense. Uh, you know, he's not exactly like ripped or anything like that. So he's going to be a CG character, so it'll just be, essentially, I think, from what I've read, it'll be like his face, and you'll get more of a like magical, electrical, fun-loving, wish-granting pink imp in
Right.
CGI form, kind of like a
Right.
genie, like, but little twist on it, in my opinion. and his wishes, they say, like, are not exactly what like you wish for. Like, kind of got to watch your wording, like monkey pie, that
Or
whole
like
thing.
Bedazzled.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I think
Yeah.
that's based on the concept of the monkey pie
Hmm.
story, where you have wishes and it's not exactly, it don't go exactly as you asked them. So, I'm really interested to see this, Greg, and I'm curious to think about who's going to get the pin, because normally it would be the guy that Courtney's brother hinted at, uh, like name drop one time. Like, that's who was involved with comics. But where these are adaptations, and her brother is more of an essential character, I feel like maybe he might be brought into the fold just to add more to the JSA for Courtney,
Right.
in terms of like emotional like ties.
Right.
So. I'm curious about that, but what do you think about this? I love this. I love his comedy specials, especially the one on Netflix. Like, he's a very funny dude. So
Oh, I love Jim Gaffigan. Absolutely anything he's in, I'll watch. It's great. I don't know when you say that they're going to do the it's going to be
I
CGI
call him a
character.
handsome Andy Richter.
There you go. When you say it's going to be a CGI character, is there any evidence to show that it's going to look or resemble Jim Gaffigan, or is he just strictly going to be like voice, like Ultron, like
Uh,
Spader was with Ultron?
I assumes that I really think that they wouldn't cast him like, I don't know if you're going to know his voice as much as you will his face and voice. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I think he's got a pretty recognizable voice. Me
Yeah,
personally,
to
I think he
his fan
does.
base. I just
Yeah,
think
that's true.
that, like, if you showed me that picture, I'm not as big of. I think if you showed somebody that picture, I think they would kind of know who he is, regardless. But I think if you heard him speak, you wouldn't know without seeing him, kind of deal. Just
Maybe,
for
maybe,
general audience,
yeah.
not for his fans. His fans are going to know him for if he says hello.
But do they even really need like? Is it something that the audience has to know that this is Jim Gaffigan voicing this?
No, I just think that they would want that just
That's
for
true. Yeah, I guess it puts
more
it out there.
notoriety, like with the people they have. But I'm also interested, like, how this is going to go. Is it going to be like, is this character going to be really comedic? Is that what they're going for here with bringing him in as well, or is
I
it
would
just going
think you
for him
have
for his
to.
voice?
No, I would think you have to. I don't think he has the voice. Like, I mean, he does have a very unique voice, but I don't think that the voice is what you're getting with him. I think you're getting the comedic delivery that he has and the pauses and what he does. He's a funny comedian. I wanted to ask too. I'm not understand. I'm not familiar with Thunderbolt. That's the character's name, correct? I'm not familiar with it. Is it a like a genie? Like you whoever has the pen gets so many wishes? Are there rules to wishes? Like how does that work? Does anybody that interacts with them can get a wish? I don't know how this works. Do you?
See, I'm not exactly up as much
Okay.
on Stargirl as I would like to be, but uh, it, like, I just assume that it's going to be whoever controls the pin, like, has him. Like, I don't think it's a three wish thing, because why would you be in the JSA if you only had like three
Right.
wishes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
That's why I'm
like,
trying to figure out this
I
wish
assume you
thing.
just have
Yeah.
control of him and he just grants wishes, but the wishes aren't exactly like This is the most powerful thing in JSA, according to Pat. So. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know, Rick. It's going to be interesting to see, but I don't think there's going to be a wish count.
Okay. Well, from what I was reading from the story you showed, it looks like he's been trapped in the pen
Well,
like
yeah,
for,
he's. I
for
think
10
he's
for 10
always trapped
years.
in. Well,
Yeah.
I think that means like it hasn't. The pen hasn't been used in 10 years.
Well, see, that makes me wonder too how it like we've seen Courtney click it
Yeah, I
in the
think you got to
episodes.
click it a certain amount of times. I'm pretty sure,
Is
like
that what it?
three. I
Okay,
think
so
it's three,
that
but
makes
I'm not
sense.
sure if it's three. I can't remember. I know there's a certain thing to it. Well, you wouldn't be just click the pin once, or I mean, anybody
Right.
could
It's
take
like the
control.
web slingers, you
Yeah.
don't tap it once, you got to tap it twice. I thought
Well,
about
you
that.
tap two
I get
fingers.
that.
Yeah.
It's just questions I have for it.
Oh
It's
yeah,
an interesting character. I
I
like the
love.
casting, you
Yeah, I
know.
love you coming at it like that too, which is like asking kind of realistic questions. Like, I
Hmm.
know you got to suspend some belief, but I mean, you personally like stories that try to take it from a real sort of point of view,
Right.
like how this will look in the world and what
Yeah.
people, how it will affect people. So, uh, really interested to see it, and bringing in big name comedian. Although, like, I still wonder the whole thing with Jeff Johns, like how this would go down. But even then, like, Andrew Kreisberg's name is still on Flash, so I don't think Stargirl will stop regardless of what happens to Jeff Johns. And is from the episodes in this season, from my opinion anyway, from season one, the better episodes were the ones that he didn't write. So
Right.
I know he oversees the character and obviously has a better idea, but I don't know if he's the best for writing the like TV shows in
Yeah.
general. Yeah.
We'll find out. All right. Well, that's about it for. So, I mean, that's the only real news we had about Stargirl season 2. I know it's supposed to air next year, right? But
Yeah.
hopefully not going to delay. We'll see what happens.
Uh, yeah. Okay. And before we get into the little sneak peeks we've gotten over the last week, we're going to talk about the like some of the stuff that Robert Pattinson has said in an interview. So
Mhm.
I'm going to break this down while like, and then we'll discuss it. So I'm just going to talk about some of the quotes in the story, and then we'll talk about them.
All right.
So uh, he opened up. It was a. I think he talked to a uh, French like article, French interview. So this is translated as well. So you got to keep this in mind. But when asked how long it took him to find inspiration for his new role, Pattinson offered this quote, which has been translated from French to English. So, but from personal experience from sports, when they translate from one language to another, sometimes context is lost. So take it with a grain of salt. Uh, this could be like some things could change, but this kind of sounds pretty like makes perfect sense to me. So to start the Batman, I'm using things at the moment that seem fragile compared to the importance of the project. Conversations I've had with close friends, embryos of dreams. Weird. This is secret and sensitive part of the actor facing the heaviness of the project. The Batman and Tenet, a gigantic team of technicians surround you, and when they say, let's go, Robert, action, you have to forget the mass of people and play in front of your own thoughts, your own demons. Yes, I have an actor's excitement to face the tension of the set, the inordinate expectation of all these people, and to transform it into a dialogue between me and myself. It's an exciting and horrible feeling to be that little shit who risks planting all the heavy artillery, all the war infrastructure, because she wasn't able to go get it. I think about that a few days before a shoot. And I mean, like his thought process is pretty crazy, but it's also very introspective, if you ask
Yeah.
me. Like he's really just like talking about the craft in his point of view, because he talks also about that when he was asked if he is still like to surprise himself as he takes on so many major roles in the most anticipated new movies. And he was like, I invented a pressure that ended up going crazy, and I like it. The duty to surprise my audience, and above all else, myself, has become the only worthwhile challenge. And it's much more difficult, believe me, than the box office challenge. With the Batman and Tenet, you could always say that I'm trying to get back to those heights. We're talking about millions of entries, but Tenet is also an experimental film. As for the Batman, I look first at the character and what I have to do with it. How I'm going to have to invent nuances in the shell, making it more complex all the time. Batman is a role in which I have to learn how to play ambiguity better.
Listening to his quotes on this and like what he's saying about this makes me feel stupid because I have to read it a couple times before I truly understand it, and even then, I don't think I truly understand it. You're right; his thought process is very strange.
I'm going to be honest with you, Greg. I think he understands it, and he understands what he's saying there. I
Right,
think
right.
that's the most important thing. It
Hmm.
really seems like he's kind of grown from since Twilight and the
Hmm.
Kristen Stewart fiasco, like in the public eye, how that all fell apart. And like the whole thing, he's reinvented himself. He's worked on the craft. Like he's become like a very very like cerebral actor, in my opinion. Like he's like honed his skills. And he's gotten away from being a teen heartthrob like those other people that were in the Twilight movies. Like they've all, like, for the most part, like the male people anyway. Like I don't
Yeah.
think they've gone the indie route like him and worked on their craft and worked with people like Willem Dafoe, like so closely, and like other people. I think that
Hmm.
like he's really improved his skills, and I kind of think that Ben Affleck kind of went through the same sort of thing for a while there, where he was doing one sort of film and then he just branched out and started trying new things and being in other things. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do about this, Greg.
Right.
This just makes me more happy because I think that he's just in a headspace that is perfect for Batman right now. Like he's not just taking this as a payday; he's trying to challenge himself and all that stuff. sounds great to me. So now we'll have to see the movie to know for sure. But
Mhm.
I'm after everything I've seen, I think that he has a mastery of this now. And I think he has this character like perfected. And
Mhm.
I don't want to assume that, but I am assuming that.
Right. Well, it definitely makes me feel better about the situation. You know, when the whole news came out, I wasn't upset about the casting. I was cautious about it because I don't know how I felt about it. Didn't like the way the suit looked. Since then, we've gotten a lot more news. We've gotten the trailer. I'm really liking the direction it's going. And hearing this from him, you're right. It does make me feel a little better. It makes because the original story was that he wasn't even working out. Like he like it just showed almost no commitment to what was going on. Now it looks like he's really really committing to what's happening, which is what I want in a character. You know, somebody that I'm going to see in at least 3 movies is Batman and Bruce Wayne. I want to see a good somebody who wants to be there performance. You know, not just doing it for the paycheck. And yeah, I haven't seen Lighthouse. With that was the one with him and William
Yeah,
Dafoe, right? I have a friend who watched it. And he said he had to watch it 3 times to truly understand it, but he loved the movie. So I think I want to check that out sometime, just because that's
it's a
a
good watch. It's kind of a little
yeah.
bit of it depends on what you like. It might be a little bit of slog to get through, like it was for my girlfriend, but
Okay.
I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was an interesting movie, and I just wanted to see it for to see like just how far he's progressed from
Right.
Twilight to now. So uh,
And then that's the big thing is the progression. So
and
that's the only
also,
thing.
I'm not gonna lie, reading this stuff, all I could think about was like Snell must have been like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" Like he's the most excited for this movie of
Yeah.
anybody that I really know, and I just think that this stuff only can get you more excited. And also, shout out to the Truth 31 in the chat. Uh, hey to you as well. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Same thing
Got a
with
door
Clay
plays
and
in there too.
Snell.
Sorry, actually, I
Yeah,
didn't even have the chat open
you're
until
the
now.
chat guy, Greg. You're supposed to be on the chat for the
Had
DC
to stream up and
ones.
all that other stuff,
Took a
man.
week
You know,
listener, he takes a week off, listener, and
this is what
that's
happens.
just
Yep.
like he's checking out, he's answering trivia questions wrong, he's
Hmm.
not doing anything else. I can't think of anything else. God dang it,
Yep.
he's shaving his beard for charity.
It's for the
Yeah, wait,
kids.
yeah.
That's right. I don't mind doing it for the kids. So, all right. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up about Pattinson? I mean, you know, I think we're both really excited about what's going on in the future with that. They're filming right now, so everything's rolling forward, right? There's no delays. We're going to see.
Yeah, the I want to say the person doing the score, uh, Chris just shared this with us that he just said that I think he's done just so that he my first feature is wrapped.
Okay.
So uh, that'll be. I'm very interested to see that movie. I can't wait. So I don't
Yeah,
think
it's a
I
Batman movie. I'm
yeah.
gonna, you know, I'm gonna love it. Yeah.
You want to take a quick break before we hit the final couple things, or we play through another news thing before we take a break?
Let's just go ahead and knock it out, man. It's cool. It's like a commercial break. You know, you have the different spacing in ones in the shows. So we'll go ahead and just space this one out. Good, knock this one out of the way. Let's take a break, folks. Just like always, we'll be right back. 30 seconds. Just these ads help us keep the lights on, and the lights are on. So what's up?
Okay, so normally listeners we wouldn't talk about this as much until
Hmm.
official images were dropped, but we've gotten some pretty awesome images from Canada Graphs up there in Vancouver, uh, getting the shots even in the COVID uh, world, still getting those teaser shots, and a couple of them are from the Batwoman uh, set,
Hmm.
and I just the costume first of all, I think it looks much better than it did last season. Like I love the costume. I think that maybe they use the same. Like they do have a new person doing the costume, and I wonder if that has been changed since. Like those were people that did the costume because it
Right.
looks so much better to me. It looks like movie caliber, in
Hmm.
my opinion. And the Batmobile, I kind of like it to be honest with you, Greg. It looks a little bit like a Mazda, like a RX-8 kind of deal. Um,
Yeah. Okay, I can
so
see
I'm
that.
hoping that I can remember the '04 or '02, sorry, Mazda RX-8. It was like a big fad. The car was like 60 grand new. And I had a friend that bought, like, finished school for grade 12, went away to work, got enough money and bought the car outright cash for 60,000. 6 years later, the car's value was 10 grand. And the car never kept its value at all,
I
and
know.
there was so many problems with it. So I hope that they finally found some uses for these mini RX-8s that are just piling up everywhere.
I hear you.
Because this looks just like it, so it would be so cool if that is actually the case. I don't think it is. Obviously, it's definitely some newer car, but it looks really cool to me, and I like this more than the bike, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah. Uh, okay. So for the costume outfit, the bat suit, I like it. It looks good. I'm more interested in this Batwoman than I was with the Ruby Rose Batwoman. Now that doesn't necessarily mean anything with the character or anything like that. It's just that I think I want to get back into DCCW. I was kind of getting out of it whenever she was coming in, but I'm more interested in seeing what's going on with this. And you're right, the suit does look great. I didn't watch the last one enough to really notice the changes.
There are a
Uh,
few. There are a few,
yeah, I'm sure
and
there looks like the gauntlets may be a little different,
yeah,
and the belt's a little different,
yeah.
from
They
what I
kind of want
can
to make it, yeah.
remember.
They kind of want to make it her own. And it's
Right.
also interesting, listeners, because a couple of the pictures have her. It seems like in scenes with Sophie.
Hmm.
So like I said, all these characters had so many deep ties and such deep personal relationships with Kate Kane slash Batwoman.
Hmm.
So I wonder, will they know immediately that it's not Kate, and also like how the relationships will progress with Ryan Wilder. Like, will they be able to keep that sort of tension that they have with
Right.
uh, her father, for example? Like, is it going to be meaningless now? So I'm very interested to see how this is going to go.
Yeah.
So, but the pictures look great, but we normally wouldn't talk about them. But news is kind of low, and we would usually wait for an official image. But still really cool. And in like to go coincide with that, we got earlier this week
Well, hold on
Superman.
real quick for you. That I want to say something about the Batmobile because I didn't
Oh,
get or
go! Oh, yeah, you
yeah,
didn't. You
I
went
didn't get
right
a
to
chance to say that.
costumes,
Yeah,
or you went right to costumes.
you
Sorry.
could. But the
The
Tumblr
first
did the
time.
Tumblr didn't look like it's something I'm going to see in Fast and the Furious either.
Yeah, but what about
That
the what about
not
in
that
the
I'm knocking
Batman?
it. It doesn't look terrible.
No.
It looks good. It just doesn't look like a Batmobile to me.
So do you
But
have? I just got a question. Do you have the same thought about the Batman Batmobile, or is that one different? Because they're
I'm
not
not a
that.
huge fan of that
Okay.
Batmobile.
Okay.
Like
No, I'm
it
just
it looks
curious.
good. I'm just not a huge fan of that one either. For that one, for me, it just looks like
Well,
something
that
that
would, yeah,
you know.
this would make more sense because I didn't know
Yeah,
your thoughts on. I don't know how I didn't know that, but I didn't know
yeah.
your thoughts on the
Well,
Batmobile in
it's because I
general.
don't hate them.
Yeah,
They're not
you just,
terrible
yeah.
looking. It's just not. I'm not. It
Yeah,
doesn't really
not
turn
your
me on.
favorite. Yeah, okay. So,
Yeah,
okay, but yeah, that would make sense that you would think the same way about this Batmobile if you think
Mhm.
that about the Batman one, because
Like that looks like
maybe
something I could see driving down the street one day, like here in Winston Salem.
you're not wrong.
You
Yeah,
know.
I will say that. But same
So
thing with the Batmobile. You wouldn't. I don't think you see it every day, but I do think there is a chance you would see the Batman Batmobile on the street too. You know what I mean? Like a car
possibly,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like I don't think that's more towards your standard car. And I wonder if that had any influence on this.
maybe. Yeah, and like I said, it's not terrible. I mean, it's a
Oh
great
no.
look. Maybe there'll be some improvements on it. You never know. I mean, upgrades are
Well,
always
I'm
great,
sure
but
if the back opened up in a big giant like rocket booster
right,
they
that
had
could
all
change
kinds of
things.
sick things like
Exactly,
and
exactly.
when it was getting shot at like a whole
Hmm.
coat of armor came over and it looked more like
Hmm.
a bat or something. I'm sure
Right,
there's ways you could yeah. So we're just judging it on still pictures
one
here,
picture. Yep, yeah,
but
one still
yeah,
picture.
we
Exactly.
can't see the back to see if there's a big like rocket booster in there or anything.
Hmm.
I would assume so, wouldn't you? Like
Maybe, yeah,
to get away.
maybe. We'll see.
We'll see.
It'll be cool if there is. Sure, would be
But
cool if
yeah,
there
to
was.
go with that, listeners, Superman and Lois, the new suit for Superman
Oh
was leaked as
yes.
well, and I think this looks even better than the Batwoman suit. This looks fantastic, and I sent Greg a picture of Superman from Young Justice season 3, and it looks so similar. That and the new 52 DC animated movies that we
Hmm.
watched, I find that
Hmm.
that's the suit that this looks so much like, and I am all here for that. I didn't want the clasp. I did not like the clasp behind the cape. That was
Right.
something that, like the big gigantic ass clasps. Like, was not a fan of them. Like
Yeah.
that was something, and it's not like it wasn't like those things. I want to make perfectly clear. Like those things will never make me not like a movie. Like
Right.
that's just minor
Right.
things
Something
that
you
I
don't
can,
necessarily like
yeah,
that's not going
that's
to ruin
something
the
that I
movie
can
for you.
complain
Yeah.
about or like
Right.
say like nitpick about, but that will never make me not like a movie. Like
Mhm.
your costume choice or anything like that. Your story, your plot, and your characters is what's going to make me like or not like your thing.
Yeah. Well, can I be honest with you, man? You showed me this literally seconds before we got on
Yeah.
the show, so I'm just seeing this, really
Well,
looking at it for the
no,
first time.
well. It was in the thing, like the thing last week, but you weren't here. So,
Right, right.
yeah.
Okay, so just looking at this kind of for the first time, I need to see a clear picture of it because I absolutely love Henry Cavill's Superman suit from Man of Steel. Okay.
Yeah.
This one may rival how cool that looks because this looks pretty damn awesome. Like I
Wonder
love the
how.
belt. I love I need to see what the material looks like.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna
Like
say. I wonder
in high def.
like, yeah,
But
how much they spent on the material compared to
right,
how much they
right.
spent, like, you know what I mean?
But just the overall general look of it, if I'm looking at a blurry picture like I am right now, man, it looks amazing. I cannot wait to see this thing in live action. It looks
I,
really, really good.
I
There's
think
no
this
cape on it, and it looks awesome.
I think this may
That's what's so cool.
facilitate like them actually putting out a picture. I think this
Mhm.
may kick this into gear a bit quicker because it's out there
Maybe.
now.
Yeah.
So,
It
and
looks
also like
really
it would
good.
be nice for like people like friends of the show like Brent to actually be able to look at it because he doesn't want to see it right now in the like kind of crappy form. So,
Hmm.
like he messaged me a couple days ago when this dropped, I think it was might have been last week or whenever this dropped, and was like,
Yeah.
"Don't send this to me if you see it. I don't want to see it until it's like the
Oh
official
man, you're
version."
gonna want to see it. It looks
And I was
good.
like, and I just said to him, Greg, like, "Do you think this is my first rodeo with you? Like,
Right.
I'm not gonna send that to you. Like, I'll tell you that what it looks like, Young Justice slash New 52, but
Right.
I'm not gonna spoil that. So yeah, I think this will make them drop an official image, and I'm curious because normally after they film and usually after they film 2 episodes before the start
Hmm.
of their season, or during the first part of their season, they end up at San Diego Comic Con because they normally want to go back to film in July,
Okay.
sometime in July, and Comic Con is in August, I think, or end of July. Maybe like they have like 3 to 4 weeks of filming before San Diego Comic Con, and
Mm-hmm.
normally they would always like use that time to show a little bit from the first and second episodes and show you what happened last season to catch you back up in a teasing trailer. They
Hmm.
haven't had that for any of their shows. So I'm curious. They didn't have any of that for any of the DC fandom because they didn't have a chance to film anything. So there
Hmm.
was nothing really new to get to see. You got a little bit of Flash stuff that you didn't get to see from because of COVID, but not much. So I'll be curious after they film for a little while. Will we get somebody sharing this on social media? Will it come on TV? Because you know the DC, CW wants to advertise these
Hmm.
shows coming back out, and they want to generate some like noise. So it's only 2 months, December and then January, and it's coming out in January. So I'll be curious to see if we get a couple show trailers to tee up the new seasons of shows and Supergirl's final season. So that'll be a little bit longer though. There's a little bit because she's pregnant. So or she just had a kid. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Good for her. Congratulations. But yeah, that's anything else you want to talk about that? That's
No, I don't want to say too much about those pictures because like there are people out there like Brent that don't want it to be spoiled. Like
right. And I
we're
get
not,
that.
and but
Yeah.
we didn't go in deep in
Hmm.
really into the pictures or anything or about the suit. It's kind of hard to in a sense. Uh, because of the quality of pictures and them slapping Canada grass right across this dead
Yeah,
center of the
across the middle
pictures.
of it. Yeah.
Like, could you be any more annoying? Yeah, we'll just wait till official ones. But I think this is a little bit of worth to point out because I think this will facilitate us getting a look at that sooner than later.
Well, generally, whenever you see a leak like
Yeah,
this, not
yeah,
long after you get the official picture because
yeah.
the cat's out of the bag. You might as well, and they
I'm
don't
gonna.
want they don't want people's opinions sullied because of the first thing they saw was that low def, fan shot picture. So
Going out on a limb here. We're gonna talk about the official image next week.
that's possible. I would love to. Yeah, hope you're right. So I hope you're right. Good deal. You might have the inside track on that.
Fingers crossed. Fingers
I hear
crossed.
you. What else you got, man?
Okay, well, we had something that news just broke today.
Hmm.
Uh, we have a change. Well, not really change, more so a uh, settling of a role. We have uh, Marie Javins has promoted to editor in chief for DC Comics.
Hmm.
Uh, this is a little while coming. I want to say in August, her and somebody else uh, were put in a position, and now it seems to be just given to her. And I think Jim Lee had this position before
Hmm.
them, but he wanted to focus more on everything. So he's working closely with them,
Right.
but he uh, he used to have this role. So this is interesting to me. We've seen some people like Tom Taylor already come out in support. I'm sure everyone is excited about this. She's been working in the role for a while, so I guess they like what she's been doing, and uh, she's one of the main voices for DC Comics now.
Yeah. Well, it's Daniel Cherry's the senior vice president, general manager of DC Comics, and then you got Jim Lee, who's the chief creative officer. And he says they're going to be working closely with the three of those together on character narratives and prioritization, creative talent and selection of brand attributes of each other's imprint and development publishing plans with lead editors. So, yeah, she's moving to the top of the chain from what it kind of seems like. Um, Dang, there was something else I wanted to say about her. Oh yeah, other stuff she's done. Like, are you familiar with anything else she's really worked on? Because I'm not.
Had she been like a, I want to say colorist or
She was
penciler for
both.
Marvel?
She was both. She's been.
Yeah. And
She was.
that's most important to me, Greg, because
Hmm.
that means she's not coming from like 100% business side. Like she's
Hmm.
coming from, she had her start there in comics and moved up the ranks like that. So uh, that's the thing that makes me happy. That I assume she'll focus on quality comics rather than what comics will make us the most. I assume she'll focus on both. Sorry, rather than solely
Right.
one. I think she'll focus on what comics like are going to be the best and also what comics are going to make the most money, because you still like you got to have your big sellers, uh, like Doomsday Clock and whatever else, like
Hmm.
your Batman, so you got to have your Batman so you can do your booster golds. Like
Right.
you need the revenue from Batman. Even though people complain about having too many Batman comics, you need that revenue coming in from those Batman comics to do your other comics, or they're
Right.
not going to let you do them. So
Hmm. Well, and even people can complain about there's too many Batman, but people still buy the books and read them.
oh
Otherwise, they
yeah.
wouldn't make them. The discontinued comics are not selling. Um, but yeah, she's worked on stuff like she edited Justice League, DC Superhero Girls, the Snagglepuss Chronicles, Superman Smashes the Klan, Harley Quinn, Dark Knight's Death Metal, um, and she was an editor and colorist for Marvel Comics at
Yeah.
one point in time. So, I mean, she's definitely got the credentials, and I don't know much about her, but I'm interested to see what she's going to provide in the future and where she's going to take DC in the future. Don't have any.
Long as Jim Lee is involved at any
I
point
agree.
at
Yeah.
all,
Hmm.
there's no flinching of me thinking anything other than like I think I think he would be straight up with you. I don't think he would uh, take the bullets for DC Comics if he knew they were screwing up or being really terrible. So
Right.
because I think he knows that he could go across the way and be with Marvel in 5 seconds, or
Right.
go to Image, or go to anything, and because he's Jim Lee. So at a certain point, you reach a level where in your own profession that no one's going to be able to take you out, and that's it. That's it here.
Yeah.
So excited to see what she's going to do, Greg. And
Very much so.
she had to be doing a good job because she was put in that role with somebody else, and now she's the main person.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I have faith until she gives me a reason not to. I don't see anything, or it looks bright. The future looks bright. Let's put it that way. Until it gives me a reason not to think so. But all right, that's about it for news, isn't it?
Yeah, that's we sucked the well dry for news, Greg.
Yeah, there wasn't much either. So scraped it out of there. Well, I think we only got one more thing to talk about, right? And it's just kind of predictions,
Yeah,
or
just what we want to see, what we think for Titans season 3, what we would like
so.
to see.
So is it what we would like to see, or what we
How
think could help save the Titans?
how what would make a successful season?
Okay.
So what do you
Uh,
think?
I can think of a few things off the top of my head. I'll spit them off and then we'll talk about them. I want to see more transformations from Beast Boy.
Yeah.
I want to see Donna Troy come back. And I think the most crucial part of this season is they have to handle the transformation of to Red Hood, from Robin to Red Hood.
And it does
Like
not sound, from
like
everything I'm reading, it does not sound good.
it doesn't sound good, but it doesn't mean it's not going to be good. They could blow us away. The problem is people have so many expectations with that specific one
I don't think
that
they
if
have
you screw it
so
up,
many. I think they have
well, not so many,
I
excuse me.
think they have
They
specific.
have their heart set on one. They
Yeah.
want it to be true to the comics, you know?
Well, this is the first time we're seeing this on the big screen, so they
Right.
want to see it
Right.
the
They want
way
the
that it was
crowbar.
told.
Hmm.
And not even you don't even need to give me that. Just let me know that Joker killed him. Like, don't give me this whole my feelings are hurt. I'm going away and coming back as the Red Hood. If
So
you don't die,
you don't need to see
no,
it or
no,
anything like that.
no,
You just
no,
need to
no.
know
I
that it's
just
what
need to know that
happened.
it happened.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't need
Okay.
this whole my feelings were hurt. I'm leaving and coming back as Red Hood to exact revenge without with that. That's not enough for me for him to be that.
I agree, because when you do that, it completely changes the character up, because he almost has to die to become Red Hood. You know, like you take away so much of the story if you don't kill him beforehand, which I hate to, brew for somebody's death, but everybody wants to see this crowbar scene, and we know we're not going to see it on the big screen. We know we're not going to see it now because they've announced it. A little fight's going to kind of make me mad because they fought quite a bit last season. Didn't him and Slade's daughter run off quite a bit because they just didn't get along with the rest of the Titans?
Well, a little bit. I think we need to get you a rewatch of season two,
Maybe.
but he did run away a couple times, but they've fought a couple times, but Nightwing handles him easily every time.
Yeah.
And that was one thing about the Lazarus Pit. It gave him like a bit more strength and like kind of changed him a little bit. So
Well,
that
what if
stuff
they're
would
just throwing us for a
even up.
curveball, man? What if they are going to do the crowbar scene and they just don't want to announce anything about it? Would you be
I,
pissed off if they did that?
no, I'd be happy. I just don't
Okay.
want.
Because I know some people would be pissed off if they told you one thing and did another, even if it was the other thing they did was what they wanted you to do, you know?
No, I'm okay with that. I just, like I said, the writing needs to be solid, and they need to stick the landing. Like they got to have a good finale because the two finales have been terrible, and the season premieres haven't exactly been the most solid either. And like you said, little things like Beast Boy transforming into different things that needs to happen. That
Hmm.
needs to happen. So
Yeah.
uh, this was like a little small thing, but the main thing for us, I think, is the Red Hood being uh, like his origin told right, and
Hmm.
Donna Troy that being fixed, but fixed right.
Right. And that's the thing. I don't know if they had to have gone. I mean, I think, in my opinion, there's no way they don't bring Donna Troy back, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I,
No, it is that. Well, wait. Obviously, when they, I don't want to say obviously, but I think we're obviously led to believe that when they send Raven with her at the end of the season.
okay.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like it's
Without
almost kind
them,
of pointless.
they've already said that they're doing it
Okay.
too. But
Okay.
yeah,
So, well, that makes me feel a little better. And I guess you're right. If they've already announced they're going to, I guess kind of announced they're going to, it's got to be done right.
yeah,
So I hope they don't do some kind of crazy thing where like they decide to bring the Lazarus Pit in, that they use it for Donna Troy instead of using it for Red Hood because he doesn't really die. Like that would be
See, I was hoping we get White Raven for her revival, like kind of like Justice League
okay.
Apocalypse, where she brought Robin back. So uh, I don't know. I think we're going to get that to be Raven Powers because they sent her there. But
Mhm.
like I said, I hope they're filming now, so I can't wait to see something from this season.
Right. Well, what do you expect, man? Or I know we're 0 for 2 so far with finales. You think they're going to bring this one home?
I don't have I can't I if I was a bit if I would I'm a gambler. I'm a
Hmm.
gambling guy. I
Hmm.
couldn't in all consciousness bet money that they would. I'm hoping that they do, but I can't.
Okay.
I would never be able to bet it because of the track record. You can't bet against 0 and 2.
Well, you can't, but once again, statistics usually show that
No,
0 and 2, the next one's going to be a win. Like
ask Jets fans.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a Panthers fan, man. Tell me I know. Trust me.
Oh yeah.
You're a Giants
You
fan.
guys
I get it.
you
So
almost beat Chiefs. So
you didn't beat the Chiefs.
you
Good job.
almost beat the
I
Chiefs.
almost only counts on horseshoes and hand grenades. I ain't worried about that. Still get the same L.
Oh my.
LeBron almost won more titles, but he didn't. So anyway, um, yeah, man, that's really
That's
all it is
it.
for me. I'm excited for Titans to come out. I hope that they stick the landing. I haven't really had a problem with the opening or the season opener. I guess we've only had the two. I didn't really have a problem with the second one, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that going forward. So, like I said, I don't know when we're getting it because of COVID. It should already have been filmed. I think the first season, the third season. So, I'm
Yeah.
just curious: will we get any more money going into it with HBO, and will we get more Beast Boy transformations because
Yeah.
of that. Like, if we don't, honestly, no, I'm taking a stand here now. I don't care how good Titans season 3 is. If Beast Boy doesn't transform into a different animal besides Tiger, I'm not watching season 4 if there is a season 4.
What do you want it to be?
I don't even care. It could be a cockroach. It could be an insect. It could be
Anything. I got you.
anything. Just give
Anything
me
other than
something
a tiger.
else.
Okay.
Give me a hawk. Give me a hawk. Fly.
Monkey. Monkey would be
Everything.
cool. Yeah.
Everything. I
Hawk would be
mean,
cool.
a kid's show shouldn't be able to do. A kid's cartoon shouldn't be able to. Like, come on, we're in 21st century now. Like, give
Sure.
me more transformations,
You
and
heard it,
make it
man.
be more like Clayface rather than like. I don't need him to like take 20 seconds to transform into a tiger. Like, be a bit more fluid. Like,
Yeah.
that's one of the things I love about Beast Boy in comics and in animated is to see him cycle through 4 different animals while he's fighting in 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for
Yeah, that
him
is
to
pretty
go
cool.
from like something that flicks animal out, and then he turns into like a bee and goes up higher. Then he turns into an elephant and falls on the person.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of stuff I need to see. I need to see alternating 3 or 4 different animals. So I don't know if I'm asking too much or if they just weren't
Nah.
smart in what they were doing with him from the beginning in terms of how they were showing his transformations. But like, I would like it a bit more like Clayface and a little less like Mystique.
I like that. That makes sense. Okay. I can deal with that. Yeah, man. But that's all I got for Titans. And I
Yeah,
think that's all we got for the show, right?
that's all we got for the
That's
show. And
about it. It
then
was a slow week in news. But we're here every Tuesday or
yeah,
every Tuesday morning, every Monday night. So
we'll be back with the Would You Rather's next week. We've
yes.
all been like, it's been pretty hectic week for everybody here. So
Well, to be fair, I had a long week last week, but I also got a new phone, and I haven't yet figured out what my password is
you
for the
gotta
DC
stop. You gotta
Alliance.
stop making yourself seem older and older. Like, you got
I
the baby
haven't yet
face
figured out
going
the
on.
password
Don't say I got a new phone and I haven't figured out the password.
for DC Alliance Twitter handle
Like,
yet. So yes, sorry, I don't care. I own it. I'm old. I don't care. Anyway, I'm not old. I'm like
do you like how
36.
I got you last week when I called you and you I when you picked
Yeah,
up
yeah,
saying
you
butt
did.
dial, I was like, I'm not butt dialing you. Aha.
I even told my friend who called, like, who's sitting next to me, I was like, look, he's butt dialing me. Watch this. And I answered. But anyway, yeah. So we'll have some Would You Rathers up. I'll probably post those tomorrow or the next day. It's normally good, the end of the show. But once again, just a long week last week. Didn't get any out there. But also, fans, if you got any suggestions for any of those, I'm always willing to take anything. So just let me know. We'll put them out there. I do like fan input.
You do know, you just said I'm willing to take anything, and Nathan is out there. So there's gonna be would you
Yeah, that's true.
rather
That's
like
true. Yeah.
eat crypto
No,
or
Nathan could come up with
ace?
some really good ones.
Yeah,
I would
eat
like to hear this.
crypto
Yeah.
or ace. Which one would you rather eat? Like
All
that,
right.
you just open up Pandora's box, right?
Oh yeah, that's okay. Bring it on, Nathan.
It'll
Ready
be a
for him.
segment. It'll be a segment of Would You Rather's.
There you go.
Nathan's Would You Rather's.
I like it. Well, all right, man. Well, you got anything else? You want to go ahead and sign out?
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. All right.
You can
Where can they
find
find
me
you,
on
buddy?
Twitter, Travis_156. Drop me a line. We can chat anytime. Like Greg said in the opening, uh, I do DC Alliance with him here, and we also do superhero discussions, both for this network. And we will be getting back to our regularly scheduled programs for this Friday. So look for the fifth and final season of Spider-Man the Animated Series. Look for us to review that.
Yeah, there you go. And then very soon after Batman the Animated Series starts,
Yeah,
it'll be fun. So good deal.
I'm gonna try and watch this weekend.
And he named, yeah, I am as well. And
Maybe
actually,
maybe we
that'll probably be
record
the
for
next one
Sunday.
before we
Yeah.
do Batman. I would
Yeah.
assume, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, like Trevor said, man, find me with him just about everywhere. Friday night, Super Civil Servants podcast. And then you can find me on Tuesday evenings, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on C3 Panthers podcast, talking Panthers football most of the time after the Panthers game on Sunday on a post-game live show. If you're a sports fan, Panthers fan, come check that out. It's a fun time. Other than that, man, check out Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. Share with a friend. Check out our Patreon. We love the feedback. Fans, ask questions. Everything you can do. I'm trying to think of everything I could say to make a fan support us or put things out there, but just do what you can. Listen to us, love us, like us. I like it. Communicate with me.
Yeah. Thanks for just being in the chat as well for the live people.
Yeah.
I just want to point it before we go. The Jared Leto Joker stuff, we're going to wait until we get something concrete for that about his Joker being a little bit more crazy for Zack Snyder's Justice League and the Robin burning alive thing.
Yeah.
That's how he's killed. We'll touch that. I want to get a bit more credible source for that.
Okay.
But Dave, the film junkie, has a video out on that, so go watch that. That's only 7 minutes long, but it's a little informative. But I want to see more info drop before we talk about that.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that, about just the sourcing of it whenever we first seen it, but yeah.
Well, I figured we just go with one of the two, like in talking about the images that drop that are not like
Right. Official
I
images.
figured
Yeah.
we go with one, and then we'll talk about the next one probably next week, because
And hopefully get some more
DC's
stuff.
being a little bit slow. But I think with the CW shows coming back, we're probably going to review some of them. Maybe we'll do a segment on DC CW each week for this, so that'll force Greg to watch the shows and force me to watch them as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's not forcing if you don't mind doing it, right?
It's starting to get like that for me with the Flash.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, all right, man. Well, let's go ahead and get out of here. Thank you all very much for hanging out, and until next week, keep pounding.
God bless America.